Vrede in het Midden-Oosten lijkt nog ver te zoeken. Maar Tass Saada, oud-chauffeur van Arafat, en Emanuel Shahaf, veteraan van de Israëlische luchtmacht, hebben een plan. Zij zeggen hoe vrede tussen Israël en de Palestijnen eruit kunnen zien. Mr. Shahaf, Mr. Saada, welcome.
It's good to be with you. Thank you.
Good to be here.
Thanks for having us.
To start with you, Mr. Shahaf, how do you keep up with the news in Israel? Because there is quite some things going on in Israel for a few months. How do you keep up?
Well, first of all, we watch TV. You watch TV, read papers, and the social media, of course, also.
Yeah, so
there's plenty. There's no lack of information.
No.
The problem is that the media concentrate on. They're very patriotic media. Okay, they concentrate on our side of the situation, and we don't get to see very much what's going on in Gaza and with the Palestinians.
Right, because you have worked in the Israeli intelligence. There was a criticism that there were warnings before October 7th happened, before the attack of Hamas, that there would be a possible attack.
Yes.
How do you look at this?
Well, apparently they were, and they weren't taken serious.
No.
And I think that's it's part of the national issue that there's a lot of denial of the severeness of the situation.
Right.
Okay, after an occupation for 56 years, the status quo seems to be safe. You know, what can go wrong? And so there's a likelihood to overlook, and also the government kept saying everything is okay. Hamas is deterred. So even people in the intelligence, you know, who come up with signs of something going wrong, are not encouraged.
No.
They're discouraged.
So you say there was a threat, but it wasn't taken seriously enough.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Your military background and your
Yes.
Mossad background, so intelligence, does it help you or does it hinder you in observing?
It helps me in the sense to take things in perspective and not to be too excited about this or too despairing about something else. Okay?
Can you give me an example of that?
Well, I know what we are capable of doing, and how strong we are, and I know that we can get out of it. So it's easier for me to overcome feelings of despair that I get.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Were you surprised about the amount of tunnels that was discovered in Gaza, the Hamas tunnels, by the Israeli defense forces?
Yes, definitely. I think everybody was surprised. I had no reason, you know, although I'm very interested and I write a blog in Times of Israel, and I've written quite a lot about Gaza. The amount of tunnel they built there is quite amazing, and it's really a sad testimony to misappropriation of the money. You know, if that money could have gone elsewhere.
You say the money that was pumped into Gaza was misused.
It was abused, yeah.
So the fact that you didn't realize the amount of tunnels that were in Gaza, that are in Gaza, and the Israeli government and the whole Israeli intelligence didn't have any clue about it. What does it say?
No, first of all, they had clues, but they didn't put it together.
But not about the vast amount?
Yeah, about the vast amount of tunnels. We knew that there were tunnels, kilometers of tunnels, tens of kilometers of tunnels, but not hundreds of kilometers of tunnels, not so big tunnels. And when we have to ask ourselves the question, how did we miss that?
Yeah.
Because whatever goes into Gaza must be going through somewhere, and we must have some. So there has been an intelligence failure. But the biggest failure is, of course, a political failure of not addressing the issue of Gaza for 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, just thinking that it'll be okay.
Right, and it isn't.
And it is not, no.
Mr. Saada, you were born in the Gaza Strip.
Yes.
How do you look at the war that is already going on for 5 months now?
Painful, of course, and we have still relatives there that have been killed. And I got the news from my sister that she heard that 200 of my relatives from my father's side were killed and 300 from my mother's side. And so, naturally, hearing all of that is very painful. And do I take that personal, or do I look up to God? In my case, I always look up to God. It's not a surprise to God. And obviously, there is a plan.
Yeah. But still, it hurts.
It was not a surprise to me. It was a surprise. It was a surprise, let me put it this way. But then I thought, this Netanyahu is a fox. He's making a deal with Hamas in order to get into this.
Right. So you say it was indeed a surprise that the war happened in Gaza and is already going on for a long time?
It was shocking.
Shocking surprise.
But not really so surprised.
Right.
Yeah.
But you previously worked for the PLO. You were a sniper. You were also the driver of Arafat. So being on that side of the conflict, how do you look at the conflict that Israel has with Hamas right now?
Yeah, I did volunteer in my young days to fight because I believe that's my land, and we've lost the '67 war, and I thought that's it. These Arab leaders are selling us out to the Jews. I'm going to go fight for my land.
Yeah.
And so I joined Yasser Arafat, and in my anger, I was promoted very quickly and become a sniper, professional sniper, and eventually an assassin. I don't share this lightly or with any kind of joy. Naturally, coming to Christ have changed my whole outlook at the conflict, at the situation.
Yeah, can you share how it was before and how it was changed when you came to Christ?
Before I believed the best Jew is a dead Jew. That was what I believed. So the more we kill, the better off we are. But when I become Christian, my heart has totally changed. And when I read the Bible and I read the Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God, I was so excited. I jumped off my chair screaming, yes, yes, Lord, I want to be a peacemaker. Help me to be. I was never a peacemaker, always a troublemaker. As I continued to read further, and eventually I said, no way. You know, it's interesting spiritually how I was driven to love my enemy and to pray for those who persecute me.
Yeah.
And I really believe that.
Yeah. If we look to the situation today with Hamas, who is in control in Gaza, and who look to the Jewish people the same way as you did before you came to Christ, what is going on in their minds?
Well, in their mindset, of course, they want to be freed from this circle of control that Israel have around them for how many years? I can't remember how many. 12?
Still since 1967.
67, so more than 50 years.
And so that closure is going to cause more and more people that want to free.
Yeah.
They want to free from that. And naturally, that attack that Hamas did, devastating. As a Christian, seeing all of that and knowing that I was part of this at some day, it was painful for me.
Yes.
I understand Israel have the right to defend itself. And I stand for that.
So there's definitely both sides on it.
Yes,
yeah.
There is a both side of the issue.
Yeah. What about the hostages? There are still being kept 130 hostages in Gaza. What do you think about the treatment, how Hamas is treating them?
I believe Hamas is not that dumb. And they are probably in many ways trying to win them by not mistreating them. Or mistreating them.
So you say they're treating them in a good way because then they have more leverage?
I really believe they're treating them better than anybody thinks.
Right.
Because of the fact when they are released, they want the people to say, Hamas treated us better than ourselves.
Yeah.
And if I was a strategist with Hamas, that's exactly what I would do. And I have a feeling that's probably what is happening.
Do you think Hamas is going to let them free?
That all depends on Israel and how much damage Israel tried to do. And I hope not. I hope they don't harm them. My hope. But what's happening on the ground, I try not to watch the news too much.
No?
Because I don't want to get too emotional.
Right. It's a contrary
And I just
of you
keep
because
praying.
you follow the news.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. What do you think about the situation of the hostages right now in Gaza?
It's a terrible situation. I really think my government is not trying hard, or it's trying hard in the wrong way. Okay,
Explain me. What do you mean?
It thinks that the more military pressure is exerted on Hamas, the more likelihood is that there will be a release of the hostages. I just don't see it that way. I think as the military situation of Hamas deteriorates, the likelihood that the hostages will be harmed increases, not only by Hamas, but also by Israel's military action. Okay, and the willingness of Hamas to give in will go down, not go up as a result of the military. That's my take of the situation.
But the Israeli government said we have two goals. We have a goal to liberate the hostages, and we have a goal to destroy Hamas.
Yes. First of all, it has to give lip service, and it keeps several members of the government have repeated that. That the first target is to get rid of Hamas, and only then the secondary target is to get the hostages out.
You think the priority should be the opposite?
The priority definitely should be the opposite, but it's very unlikely that this government is going to change them. This is very, very bad for the hostages and for their families.
And the other question is, at what cost should the hostages be released? Because they're talking about liberating...
At almost all costs. This war has to wind down. Okay, it has to wind down for so many reasons that it's okay, at least from my point of view, that we pay for releasing the hostages with a very high price. Okay, so we have the damage caused is tremendous. Hamas is probably not finished, but it'll never be finished. Okay, so it's basically up to the government of Israel to decide when we won. Say we won, let's call it a day. And
so you're saying it's not a realistic goal to destroy Hamas?
No, it's not.
Why not?
Because it's if you look at the situation, first of all, the world will not let us. The Americans won't let us. The situation won't let us. Okay, we don't have freedom of movement. We can't do this for months on end. We can't keep 300,000 people under arms. We have another front in the north, which we have to take care of, and they are connected. So the situation is just, we got ourselves into a situation from which it's almost impossible to come out of in a good way.
Right,
okay.
Right. And the world is also putting pressure on Israel and asking them or urging them to promote a two-state solution as a solution also for the conflict.
My hopes and prayers that Israel will come to the realization that finishing up Hamas, that's meaning finishing up the entire population of the Palestinians. They have to think that, you
say it's impossible.
Hamas is in the heart of a lot of people, many of the Palestinians, whether we agree or disagree with it. But the people themselves, the Palestinian people, wherever they are hoping to have the ability to return, to come, even just to visit. And so somebody like me who always was looking over my shoulder because I know there is an Israeli assassin hunting me down just as I was hunting them down.
Right.
But coming into peace with Israel began to give me peace.
Yeah.
The more we have those Palestinians that come to know Jesus, the more we have peace.
No more the war.
That's the bottom line.
You both are working on a book, and the book is about a possible alternative for the two-state solution.
Yes.
Mr. Saada, can you tell me how the collaboration between the two of you started?
Well, the vision of the Federation really was my brother Emanuel's vision. And when I was told about that by a mutual friend of ours, a tour guide that was working for me also for my tours, he told me about him. I looked it up online and the idea, and began to read it more and study it more, and thought, man, this is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
That's exactly the answer.
Yeah.
So I began to buy into the vision and started connecting with them.
And when you first met each other, what did you tell each other? Because you used to be
we
sworn
talked
enemies.
for a while on the phone first.
Yeah.
When I believed in that vision, I connected with Emanuel and I told him about my interest in that vision as well, and he was open-minded, and we began dialoguing. And
yeah, Mr. Shahaf, because you used to be before to be sworn enemies of each other. Now you are cooperating. Can you tell me what is the idea that you're both working on?
First of all, I don't look at Tass and I don't look at Palestinians as sworn enemies. Okay, I look at the situation. This is a situation which we created, which the Palestinians created, and I'm always looking to resolve it. I'm an engineer by training. So engineers try to solve things.
Yeah.
So that was the basis for the idea. And after I realized in 2010 approximately that the two-state solution is not going to happen, okay, I was looking for something else. And a close friend of mine had been dabbling in federation solutions already in the 70s with Jordan, and he came up with this plan, which I originally thought was crazy. But the more the situation progressed, and the more I read about it, I realized that this is it.
Can you tell me in short what the plan is about?
In short, it's a regional government in the area between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean.
You're talking about the whole of Israel?
The whole of Israel, not including the Gaza Strip.
Right.
Okay, it didn't, even before the 7th of October, we didn't include the Gaza Strip for demographic reasons.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, that whole area will be subdivided administratively into 30 cantons, 20 of them Jewish majority, 10 of them Palestinian majority, which represents the demographic balance, 2 to 1 approximately, in that area. And this whole thing will be run by a federal government and the regional governments in the cantons under a constitution, a secular liberal constitution written by both the Palestinians and the Israelis. That's
basically the plan.
That's basically, and we don't go into too much details because we want people to weigh in, because we have to make our federation.
And there is also more info on our website, I
Yes.
understood, and we will screen it also on the TV. So if people are more interested, they can take a look. But a very honest and bold question. People are thinking already for 75 years what solution there should be for Israel and the Palestinians.
Well,
so do you think, what is the difference that makes this solution better than the other one?
First of all, we don't know for sure, but we can only speculate. But we know that 40% of the world's population lives in federations. Okay, and we also know that Israel, without regard of the Palestinians, is already looking towards regional government as an approach. So we think in that way we can create a situation where we can live together, but still separated by those different regional cantons, in a way that will contribute to experiencing living together in peace, and then finally settle this conflict. So
Mr. Saada, do you think such a peace plan would actually work in practice? You live there as well, of course. But
it is. I see, even before I met him, when I come to the conclusion as I studied the Bible and realized this is the land of Israel, but God have given us also the opportunity to live in that land as well, equally, and so that's why when I saw the Emanuel's vision, I thought, this is exactly what I'm looking for. I was never looking at a two-state solution. I always believed in a one state. And so coming across this vision, I thought, that's it. I got a partner with this man.
We're talking about a political solution.
I'm sorry?
We are talking here about a political solution, about a possible way for Palestinians and Israelis to live together. But there's also a spiritual aspect for you as a Christian.
If we given the chance and the Palestinians are given rights and equality, I believe they would live happily ever after. As I see it today in some of the Israeli Arab areas. That's an example. It's not perfect, but better than what the Palestinians are living under now.
You have a foundation. It's called Hope for Ishmael.
I have Hope for Ishmael. Ishmael is the father of the Arab people. and also Hope of Peace Foundations, the two NGOs.
Right, but you work also in the Gaza Strip through your foundation. What do you do there?
We provide help and aid, humanitarian aid mainly, and I have many believers in the Gaza Strip that works with me, helping their people through the support that we get from people who believes in our vision.
Are there many Christians in the Gaza Strip?
Originally, it was 2,500 before the, what do I want to say?
Before the Hamas took control.
Before Hamas controlled the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, yes. And then it went down to about 800. And our team is about 218.
Yeah, how is the situation?
And they continue to increase.
How is the situation of the Christians there?
It's tough. It's very hard.
In what way?
It's very hard. But they are coping. And they always send me messages, and I did put it in my, many of them, in my last e-news that I sent out, their thoughts. And it's a blessing to me to see that they have not lost their faith, and they still have that hope. And they're continuously looking at others to give them that hope as well.
Yeah,
so.
Because you have said in an interview that God has a plan for the people of Gaza. Can you share with us what plan that is?
I believe, as I have received the vision of peace and hope, I believe that given time, many more Gazans, because of the situation and the hardship that they are living through, they are looking for answers. And what I have heard and seen, people on the ground saying they have seen visions and dreams. And so when they have visions and dreams, they begin to question, begins to answer. They start going into the internet. They're looking for people like myself to answer their questions. And of course, when they do connect that, I go for it.
Yeah.
With love and encouragement and help them to know the truth.
Yeah. Mr. Shahaf, we were talking now about the conflict that is going on between Israel and the Palestinians, but there are still more aspects to it. If we look to the border with Lebanon, where Hezbollah is, if we look to Yemen, where the Houthis are, if we look to Iran, it seems that the pressure in the Middle East is rising.
Absolutely.
What is your viewpoint on this?
Well, first of all, it all boils down to our conflict with the Palestinians. And this is the big mistake Israel has made. Over the last 10 years, we haven't dealt with the conflict with the Palestinians. That's why the conflict with the Palestinians has metastasized into conflicts in the area of supporting the Hezbollah is supporting the Palestinians. The Houthis are supporting the Palestinians. The Iranians are working behind the scenes to support the Palestinians. And it's all because we didn't get our act together in time. Okay.
But then again, we are in a situation right now. So if there would be a peace agreement with between Israel and the Palestinians, do you think Iran and Hezbollah would back down?
It will be possible to de-escalate. Okay. I'm not saying that immediately it will stop. But because it'll take a while till everybody will believe that we're trying to resolve the conflict with the Palestinians.
Right.
But it will make the situation better.
Yeah. Final question, Mr. Saada, very short. Is there something that we as people in the Netherlands can do to support your people?
I want to ask the people of the world, the Christian world, the Christian people, not to give up on the Palestinians and to lift them up in prayers, because their eyes are looking up, but they are not getting the answers yet. But we have the answer, and that's what I'm praying for.
Thank you, Mr. Saada. Thank you, Mr. Shahaf.